asked Wes, was it good for him to have you guys win some battles Saturday? For you, how good did it feel to actually win some in the trenches and make good plays in the scrimmage?
Well, anytime you have a live situation, a scrimmage situation, I mean, it's such a valuable experience for a lot of people. It's a value for the coaches, it's value obviously for the players, and when you see guys having success, man, you can really build on that confidence-wise. And I just felt like, especially in our running game, our offensive line did a really, really good job of really covering people up and being physical. And that's what our guys are. We got some tough guys up front, and I just love coaching those guys because they got that mentality, that you really, really want. So I would just start with the offensive line there on Saturday. Man, they really set the tempo, did a good job of protections, had a couple breakdowns of protections, but for the most part, man, they were dialed in and they did a good job of covering guys up.
Are you excited? I know you have to temper your expectations, but are you excited to see this offensive line this year? And can you say, yeah, we're going to be much better?
Oh, man, I'm so fired up about these guys. Number one, the character that they have, and then the passion that they have. They all got the want to, and we've been talking about toughness and mental toughness for a long time, and that's what these guys have. And so there's no doubt we got that potential to be really, really, really good. And man, it's still a work in progress. Every position has things to work on. But man, I'm very, very excited about those guys up front.
How surprised have you been in Blake Miller, and how many first-team reps is he getting right now?
Yeah, Blake has done a great job. I mean, he's really a smart kid. He's smart. He understands the big picture for being such a young guy. And it's been special to watch him work. He doesn't say a whole lot. He just goes out there and gets it done. And so it's really neat to watch him. And boy, is he tough. I mean, he's just a tough, hard-nosed guy that doesn't give away at all, man. He's on top of it. So he's had a great camp so far.
Does he look like a first-teamer to you?
He's done great. Yeah, we put him at the first team the last couple days. So he's on that track to get those first-team reps.
Dabo mentioned you guys are still looking for your best five on the offensive line. How soon do you need to make that decision so that you guys can start putting that group together and cohesion, things like that?
Yeah, I think this week is a big evaluation week for us. Again, we have another scrimmage on Wednesday, so being able to get more than just one evaluation is critical. We've been talking about consistency all the time, but yeah, we'd like to get that first unit ready to go by when we come back next week and get started and start really, really ramping up game planning and ramping up the just getting ready for that first game. So I would say this week is another big evaluation week, and what we ask of those offensive linemen is a lot because we want them to play multiple positions. So sometimes, we got guys playing tackle and guard in the same scrimmage,
right.
And that's a challenge, all right, but they've done a great job of taking on that challenge. But to answer your question, I think this week evaluation, next week we need to start really honing down on what that lineup's going to look like, those best five.
How confident are you in Walker at playing right guard if he ends up repping there, playing there?
Yeah, I mean, he's done really good the last couple days, and again, it turns into a valuable situation when he loves playing guard, but he's played a ton of tackle too. So we got an opportunity for him to potentially play both. But right now, he's still learning the position because he hasn't had a ton of reps at guard. But, man, he's doing very, very well, picking it up fast. Another smart guy.
How would you describe the quarterback battle? Is it still DJ's QB1, or is 2 pushing him? Is the job? How would you define it?
Yeah, good. Right now, DJ's our starting quarterback. I mean, he's been solid this whole camp. He really has. He's moving so much better. He's just doing a great job of leadership. We talk about that all the time, and these guys really want to follow him. And then Cade has done an awesome job. He's done nothing but just continues to get better and better and better. And so there's no doubt there's competition. I mean, there is definite competition. But DJ, man, he's the guy right now. I mean, he's our guy, and he's got to stay consistent and keep playing and getting better. And that's what competition's about, and that's what it's making all those guys in my room better and better each day.
Has Cade closed that gap at all since where he left off in the spring?
You know what? I don't even know how big the gap was whenever we started preseason camp, but they're both just pushing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. They're both pushing each other, and they're both taking steps in a lot of different areas. So that's all I can look for is guys just getting better individually, which is going to make our group that much better. You know.
Speaking of that group and pushing out, what about Hunter and his work here? What's he done since he's been here to help those guys out a little bit?
Yeah, Hunter Johnson's been great. He's just got all that experience. You know, he's like the mature old head in the room. You know, that just has been there, done that, and he has given a lot of good advice, just how to handle certain situations, and he's got a poise factor about him that's really, really, really good. And so, you know, obviously he's been gone from here for 4 years, and we got a newer type of an offense, so he had to learn a lot too. He was here for most of the summer, all right, but had a good opportunity to get some decent reps this preseason camp so far. So I'm very pleased with where he's at.
With Bo out right now, what are you doing at the 2 and the 9?
Yeah, kind of like I was talking about with the offensive linemen, man. We got guys playing multiple positions, you know. And Gada obviously is the 9-man that's the starter as of now, and we got Dakari Collins behind him, and then you got, you know, different guys playing different positions, 5 and 2, kind of mixing back and forth. Like Spector's playing both 5 and 2. He actually played some 9, the boundary receiver. So he's done a lot, which is good because in the end, you want guys that are just knowledgeable and understand the big picture. And so he's done a great job there. Obviously, EJ's been out for a couple days. We're going to get him back this week. He could play multiple positions. So there's really only a select few, if any, that are just playing one. You know, a lot of times we try to put the freshmen, the incoming guys, and just try to hone into one position. And then sometimes, if they really can gather it, then they can play 2. But, man, just moving guys around helps them learn it better, and it also creates even more competition.
Which I already touched on this, but really what you saw, like you know, on the offensive line, and how he's been able to kind of push his way in there.
Yeah, Blake has done a great job. He's just been very steady. You know, he's been very steady. You know, the day he got here, man, he doesn't say a whole lot, but I'll tell you what, he grinds, and he loves to grind. On top of that, he's smart, understands the big picture, and that has allowed him to really get some good reps, you know, with that first group. So, you know, he's still learning. He's young, but, man, he's tough and he's smart, and that's what I'm excited about.
Freshmen go through some tough times, learning curve last year on the offensive line. What's different about this? Do you feel like this can work, or is it going to be more of a kind of bumpy road?
Well, no, we've had plenty of examples in the past that have some rookie, you know, offensive linemen. And it's just a matter of if they're ready or not, you know. You have a guy like Mitch Hyatt, right? Mitch Hyatt came in here and started every game that he was available, you know. And so, you know, Blake is a smart guy, you know, and really understands the big picture way better than a lot of younger guys at the offensive line. So, like I said, he's still got plenty to get better at, but, man, he is what you want in an offensive lineman. He's doing very well.
Those guys pushing Dietrich Pennington last year was pushing the second string. What's Dietrich doing since he should?
Yeah, Dietrich, man, he's coming back. He this is the first time he's played football in over a year, you know, full speed, you know, getting back on his, you know, because of his knee injury. And so, you know, he's getting better one day at a time. He's still got a ways to go. He's got a lot to learn. Things are happening really fast right now for him. But, man, he's a great kid. He's a 1-2 guy. He works hard, and he's a big man. I think he weighed 350 or 360, and he can move for that size of a man.
Did it surprise you at all how the first scrimmage, there was the offensive line that was winning the day?
You know what? I mean, obviously we got a great defense. I mean, we got a great defensive line. Everybody's talking about the defensive line, and they're really, really good players. And so I think sometimes that offensive line is forgotten, you know, and they did a great job of making a statement of just being super physical and mentally sharp and just had that toughness, you know, just had that toughness about them that allowed them to succeed on Saturday. So that was a really good day. I think we took a step forward in that offensive line with confidence and feel really good about where they're at.
Brandon, what's your evaluation of your rookie defensive coordinator and how he calls the game and calls the defenses?
I'll tell you what, Wes has been awesome. You know, we're neighbors too. It's awesome, man. Wes has been, he's such a smart guy. Y'all know that. I mean, and he is ahead of the game. Like, he's always a step ahead. And so, man, he has no hesitation. He knows what he wants. Very prepared, very organized. and just fun to be around. He's done a great job.
Have the tight ends done anything stood out to you in recent practice?
Absolutely. We got some really, really good experience and good talent in the tight end room. Davis Allen obviously brings you that experience factor, and he can do it all. I mean, he really can. I mean, he's as good of a blocker as we've ever had here at tight end. Obviously, his size is unbelievable, and then his route running is just getting better and better. And so he's done a great job. I'll tell you, Brenningstool has done really, really well. I'm very pleased with where he is, and he's a definite threat in the passing game, and he's got nastiness to him too. And so he's been a very consistent player this preseason camp, and that's what we needed to see from him. All right, as we went through preseason camp, and so those two guys are really shining. And man, I'll tell you, Luke Price, I'll tell you what, that guy is as tough of a guy as we can find, and a leader in that room. He's going to help us in spots for sure. And Sage Ennis has done a good job of getting better each and every day. And we've got Josh Sapp, who's just a young guy that we've seen enough these last 2 weeks where he's going to be a talented player. He's got a ways to go of learning it and understanding the big picture and those type of things. But he's a talented player that we're really, really excited about.
I'm watching drills Friday, and I see Kyle out there, and he'll line up on the hash or he'll rush, and he's making guys make post-snap decisions. Are you pleased with where you guys are in that regard and trying to tweak the offense just a little bit?
Yeah, post-snap decisions.
Yeah, as far as maybe
who?
Kyle Richardson.
Oh,
Sorry.
he was
yeah.
doing okay.
Yeah, so he's out there making guys. Hey, I'm shading you inside. I'm shading you outside.
Yeah.
Run a route now.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's so important. I mean, at every position, this game has evolved so much where it's not anymore where they're just going to line up and stay in one spot. Sure. We know there's going to be a ton of post-snap. I mean, you start with the quarterbacks, they better know how to read defenses post-snap, because that's where it's all about is the reaction and what happens after the ball snaps. So every position is doing that, and there's no doubt these coaches are grinding it, and our players, so we can be ready for anything and everything.
Dabo mentioned that DJ made like 2 or 3 big plays with his legs in the scrimmage. What's kind of your evaluation of him as a runner?
Yeah, very, very excited. Really excited. He's gotten so much more confidence in running. Like we talked about before, just losing the weight and getting healthy with his knee. And he's just got a lot of confidence right now, moving around, escaping the pocket, creating plays with his feet. And so that showed a lot on Saturday. And man, he did some really, really good stuff that I'm excited to see how he does it this summer, this fall.
Just as an OC, what's kind of your philosophy on quarterback runs, whether design, scramble, kind of how that helps hurts maybe, or how much you're planning to mix it?
I mean, I think you always got to be ready for a variety of different quarterback runs. There's no question about it. I mean, anytime you can run the quarterback, you have an opportunity to gain an extra hat as a blocker. And man, it just poses another threat to that defense. And so when you got a guy, we always want a guy that can do both, a guy that can throw it, obviously, stand in the pocket, maneuver in the pocket, but then a guy that we can call some designed quarterback runs. And every quarterback's a little bit different on what type of runs we call, all right, for the quarterback. But man, I'll tell you what, that's a big part of this offense.
Granted, nobody was good around him at times last year, but one of the things he struggled with was accuracy. Maybe a little bit in the spring we saw it too. Has he improved in that regard to you?
Yeah, I really feel like he has. I think he's just gotten more confident, confident. And then the other thing is when you have guys that are back healthy, and you got a consistent every day in, day out, you're throwing to the same guys, that creates a lot of confidence right there. And so his accuracy has been a lot better this fall, a lot better from even the spring, like you said, and last fall. And so just knowing who he has out there, and they're on the same page a lot more than they've been in the past.
Kyle and DJ both mentioned recently about the option routes and reading the defense, just depending on that dictates what routes the receivers run. I guess are y'all doing that more? Y'all incorporating that more this year than previously, and just how has the offense handled that?
Yeah, I think we're definitely doing it more than we have in the past. There's definitely some concepts where we want to be able to adjust the route based on what kind of defense we're getting. Right. And so there's a fine line with that. There's a fine line of being on the same page. So the quarterback and the receivers, or the quarterback and the tight ends, or the quarterback and the running backs, they got to be on the same page, all right, when they're reading these routes, okay? And by being able to do this throughout preseason camp, they've done a really good job of getting on the same page. We might have had a miscue here or there, all right, but that's always about going back in there and correcting it, you know. But just really, really putting the defense in a tough situation when we have guys that can read routes and be able to adjust on the fly. And but we've got a lot of confidence in that right now.
From a quarterback's perspective, is that difficult? Just not knowing exactly what route your receiver's going to be running before the snap?
Well, I mean, there's always a similar route. They just
Yeah.
have to adjust it based on different things, you know. So, you know, just like we talked about, a lot of post-snap recognition is critical. So, post-snap, just being on the same page, it can be difficult at times. That's why you got to do it enough to gain that confidence.
DJ was saying earlier this week, I guess last week, that you're a big paper guy, that everything's on paper, and then the adjustments to the iPad make it difficult. So what is your process in terms of breaking games down? Is it all paper?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, man, I'm transitioning to some iPad stuff, man. I'm excited. Yeah, no, it's just been a lot less paper. And I've been joking with the quarterbacks and trying to get them on board too about being on iPads more, and they are. A lot of the offense is really on iPads, a ton of iPad work, and just learning the ins and outs of the organization of the iPad. And so it's been able to help me be a lot more efficient, and find things a lot cleaner and not have as many folders everywhere, you know. So it's been a lot cleaner with whether it's game planning or just getting organized.
I guess when you first got here, how many stacks of papers would you have?
Yeah, I mean, I was a folder guy. So I went from a folder guy to an iPad guy, you know, and so now those folders are basically my iPad. It's all in one spot. So I got plenty of folders in my drawers in my office that I don't even have to use anymore.
Is that like a holdover from growing up without technology like that?
What's
Or
that?
Like using paper, that is a holdover from
Yeah,
growing up used to that?
I think you know, in the last couple of years, you know, some of the younger guys on staff, you know, obviously are just tech savvy and just do a good job with that stuff. And then, you know, the older guys on staff, and I'm not talking about me, all right? The older guys on staff, it just takes a little bit longer to make that transition. And so, you know, paper's just been something we've been wearing out, you know, and now it's just so much cleaner without using the paper, and we still got paper for some things, but the copy machines are not breaking down quite as often.
Is there anything?
1 to 10, your iPad knowledge, where would you say you're at?
Well, I'll just say this: Apple is calling me every day, wanting me to join them. So, you know, my knowledge is pretty daggone good right now.
So is there anything that you refuse to put on the iPad that you just need to refer to the?
What's that now?
Is there anything that you refuse to put on the iPad? More detail that you just need the paper to look at?
Good question. I mean, there might be a few things that I still use paper, but I'll tell you, man, I mean, 90% of what I'm doing now is going to be on the iPad, and it just makes it cleaner, and I can find it faster, and it's all right there. So I'm still learning, though. I'm not a 10 yet. I'm not a 10.
How's Putnam performed this?
He's been
Kansas Center?
awesome. He's been awesome. I mean, I love that kid. I mean, that kid is a grinder, and he's been super consistent just starting with the snaps. I mean, very, very accurate with the snaps. And he's just a tough, hard-nosed guy that's getting the job done. So really, really pleased with his development. It's very clear that he trained really hard this summer and got better this summer.
The other thing DJ was saying with the papers is just that you're very detail-oriented. It's something he noticed about you. I guess where did you pick that up from coaches in high school, college, or from Tony Elliott or Drew Scott?
Yeah, probably a combination, but I mean, I probably would start with my dad. He was a coach forever, and so I always was at his office and was at the practices, and he was always a detail-oriented guy. And being a quarterback, playing the position, you have to be a detail-oriented guy. You got to know everybody's position and what they're doing. And man, like a lot of coaches say, it's all about the little things, you know. And that's the biggest thing that we need to improve on from last year is being way more consistent with the little details of every position's job and what their responsibilities are. And so I'm very, very thorough with that, and I want to make sure that the quarterbacks were on the same page, number one, and then just detail with what they're supposed to do.
Coming into the fall, it felt like you were pretty set with 3 running backs. Has the pecking order changed? I guess people assume maybe it's Shipley, Pace, and Maffa. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I love all 3 of them. And I promise you, all three of them can do any job. And that's a super comforting feeling. And Dominique, man, our fourth guy, he has improved tremendously. And so we got 4 guys we feel like we can really depend on. Keith Adams is coming along as a freshman. But those top 3 guys, they can roll as much as we need to. I feel that confident about all 3 of those guys. And Shipley brings, that demeanor to this offense that is just that nastiness, toughness, leadership, holds everybody accountable. So man, he's a guy that man, we can hang our hat on for sure. All 3 of them have done everything from protection, running the ball inside the tackles, running the ball outside the tackles, catching the ball out of the backfield. Very, very pleased with all of them.
Did Kobe slow down at all? Trying to get a little bit.
He might have lost a few pounds from the spring. I'll have to double check that, but I think he might have slimmed down just a little bit.
Just trying to get
He's
a little
moving
extra
well.
speed.
Just a little bit speed and a little bit more, just trim down just a little bit of that body fat.
Do running backs, as they kind of get adjusted to college football and getting the hits, do they kind of want to slim down a little bit? Because it feels like you want to bulk up when you first get here.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's every running back has a different weight that they feel confident in, and I think number one is, can they maintain their speed or even become faster and gain weight? If they can do that, then great. All right. For example, Phil Maffa, I think he's around 230 pounds right now, but he can move just as well or better than he did when he weighed 220. And so that's a perfect example of a guy that just has put in the work, and Kobe might have had to slim down just a touch, just a couple pounds here and there, just to feel confident and more comfortable. Doesn't mean he's not getting stronger and getting leaner, and just feeling more confident about themselves.
I remember Travis did that. He kind of got a little too big at times, and he slimmed back down to get his speed where he wanted it.
Yep.
It's just depending on the.
It does. Every back is just a little bit different,
When do you expect Bo to be back?
Good question. He's doing really, really well right now. I expect him to be back pretty soon, sooner than we originally thought.
Okay.
So I think he's going to be back sooner than we thought.
Speaking of guys that'll be coming back soon, how excited are you to kind of game plan for Adam Randall whenever he gets there?
Yeah, Adam has been awesome. He's just a workhorse. He's a guy that came in here and had a lot of success in the spring, and he's a quiet kid that just goes to work. And then obviously, unfortunately, he hurt himself, and he's back way ahead of schedule. And so we're going to see him at some point this year. How early, I'm not sure yet. Every week is kind of, week by week, trying to see where he's at. But, man, he is awesome, and he's a smart kid, and he knows what he's doing, makes all kinds of big plays. All right, so really, really excited about him getting in the mix whenever he gets healthy.
What have you been seeing out of Antonio Williams, a guy, highly prospect coming in? But have you seen the flashes of it?
I'll tell you what, man, I'm pleased with a lot of our rookies that have come in, but if I had to pick one guy that just got here in the summer, Antonio Williams is the first guy that comes to mind. He's a guy that his knowledge has been the most surprising to me. Coming in the summer, right before preseason camp, and he has very few mental mistakes. On top of that, his athleticism is awesome. He's fearless about going and getting the ball, and his hands have been incredible. Make you miss guy. He's got game speed that is really, really good. He's going to help us a lot this year, so I'm excited about Antonio.
Coach Swinney's talked a lot about how it's kind of off and on, how much you can do contact, you only get 2 scrimmages, like that stuff. How does that affect an offense for your staff?
Well, there's always that fine line of, man, you want to get some game-like scenarios so they can gain that experience, and also give them that experience of, okay, we're in Death Valley, this is a live situation, all right? So let's take the practice to the game field. What you've been practicing, and take it to the game. And so you want to get that mindset with those guys as much as possible. Yet at the same time, you got to protect your team too, and be able to make sure we got guys ready and available for the game and not have to risk injury. So there's that fine line there. And so we're going to have 2 full scrimmages, that second one coming up on Wednesday. But it's super valuable for these guys because it allows them to, really lock into a game-like atmosphere and see how they respond. I mean, my message to the guys are, man, if I see you being perfect in practice and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and then you go to the game or a scrimmage and we're in live and you're doing something totally different, that tells me you're not ready for the show yet, you know, and how can we count on you for that? So the challenge is to get the guys that do it right in practice also do it right in the game. Don't do anything different, you know? So that's the mentality that we got to have.
Brandon, with Antonio, is he a different type of guy than y'all have had recently at receiver? Have you had something like him?
I mean, you look at Amari Rogers and Renfro and, you know, those guys that you know, aren't like the tallest guys out there, but are really shifty, you know, really shifty. And so, you know, I would say that he relates to one of those two guys the most. I mean, obviously each of those guys had their, you know, things that they were special at. But Antonio, man, just these first couple of weeks, like I said, I've been super impressed. And just him being in that slot and also learning other positions. I mean, he's been at other positions a couple days too. So just fortunate to get him and have him as part of our team. And man, he just rolls his sleeves up and goes to work every day.
How much different do you feel like the offense would be if you have that slot guy kind of just take his pass, quick pass, make a play in space? I mean, does that make the offense a bit different?
Oh, of course. Well, anytime you have a guy in the slot that can make guys miss, I mean, it does nothing but makes you better, you know. And you got a situation where, you know, whether they're playing in the slot or on the edge, and you guys get the ball to those playmakers in space. That's a big part of our offense, dude. Get the ball to them in space, and then let's see what they can do with it. And a lot of times there might be an unblocked guy in front of them, but they can make a miss. So when you got a guy that's special like that, man, that helps you call certain plays, and it obviously helps the offense being successful.
What's your expectations going from last Saturday scrimmage to this Wednesday? What do you expect to see out of the offense?
Yeah, a couple things. One is I expect our tempo to get better. You know, I expect our tempo to get better and just getting in between plays, pre-snap intensity. That's number one. Procedurally, we've been solid, but we haven't been as good as we need to be as far as a few too many procedure penalties. All right, whether it's the offensive line jumping or quarterback waiting too long to snap the ball, you know, things like that. We just got to clean up the details. All right, that's the biggest thing. It's just taking from what we learned, because there's a lot of good pictures on Saturday and a ton of pictures that we can learn from that we went into the meeting room and talked about. And now I want to see those guys not make the same mistake. And let's go out there on Wednesday and clean it up even more.
Just in terms of Hunter Johnson, how different is he from the guy you saw maybe as a freshman? Talk about pictures, number of pictures you've seen. What can he add to the room?
Yeah. Well, Hunter Johnson has been a great addition to our quarterback room for a lot of reasons, but his maturity, his experience factor, him just being able to mentor our guys. He's kind of been there, done that. This is his 6th year playing college football, so he's seen a lot of football. And so he's been able to, you know, process that and understand that, man, his role is such a big part this year. He's got a big role, and he's been awesome. You know, he's learned the offense. He's making plays. I mean, he throws as good of a ball as I've seen. You know, he's one of those guys. So that's been the same when I first saw him when I was recruiting him. But man, he's just such a great kid and a great part of the offense and a great part of the quarterback room.
Can you elaborate some on what DJ was talking about a couple of days ago, as far as different routes based on the coverages and kind of reading and stuff, and just how the receivers and QBs have done with that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just talking about it earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry, don't worry.
No, that's all right. It's just, hey, we have routes in this offense, all right, that we're gonna be reading routes, and the quarterback's got to be on the same page with the receivers and the tight ends as they're reading the routes, and it's so important that we grind them and we're all on the same page, because when you're reading routes a lot, you know, that's the biggest issue, is whenever you're not on the same page. All right, the quarterback's throwing it one way and the receiver's running a different way. You know, so just getting a lot of repetitions and teaching, and then just getting better and better. They'll gain more and more confidence from it.
Are you pleased with where that is right now? Or is there
Very
still
pleased.
Very pleased.
We've been on the same page most of the time. There's been a few instances where we need to clean it up, but for the most part, we've been really, really clean. So.
Brendan, I know outside of here, there will be folks that question Dabo's decisions to, he's going to hire his guys as opposed to going out and finding the biggest name coordinators when he coaches these. He's not into the transfer portal. He's trusting his guys. What is that? How does that manifest itself within, the football building, within the locker room? Like, what does it mean to you guys, the confidence that he has in kind of keeping the circle tight, believing in his culture, believing in you guys, giving you the opportunity before somebody else?
Yeah, it's special. I mean, it's awesome. Coach Sweeney has created a culture of good people, and he has always been a guy of loyalty and a guy that if you earn it, then you deserve the right to get it. Same way we run our team, the coach runs our team is you have to earn it every single day to get out and to be able to play on the field. Well, it's the same thing as a coach, you have to earn it first. You have to earn it, and if you earn it, then you deserve the right to have that opportunity. And so it is a motivating factor for guys that might not be the offensive coordinator or the passing game coordinator or whatever the case is. And it motivates you to do the best job that you possibly can because you have a coach that is willing to, if you're doing it the right way and if you're doing a good job, man, he's going to promote you and he's going to give you more opportunity to have more responsibilities. And so it's pretty special. It's really, really special, and it's a big motivator for our whole the whole program.
The word Wes used was hope, and is that sort of the people will go out and fight for hope, and if Dabo's giving that to you, that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, hope is a big part of this program, and so yeah, that's a big part of it.
Do you see it sort of how it mirrors his own story? I mean, Al Dabo probably shouldn't have been playing football at Alabama. He probably shouldn't have been the head coach here, and
yeah,
he's people have trusted him, and he feels like he's got to do that.
100%. Somebody had to believe in Coach Sweeney to get where he is, right? Give him an opportunity because they saw something in him, and so that's what he's been able to do with the staff in a lot of ways is, man, give guys opportunities and you'll be surprised on what they can do with it, and so that's exciting.
Very good. Thanks, Coach.